Welcome to Shadows and Crimes podcast. Tonight, we delved into a crime that instantly became a national inflection point, the assassination of Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, it's one of those moments where, everything just stops. And based on the sources we've gathered, our mission today is really to look beyond those initial shockwaves. We want to understand why this specific act of violence blew up into such a major cultural and political flashpoint, almost immediately exposing these deep, deep cracks in how we talk to each other in America.
We're talking about Charlie Kirk. He was only 31 years old, married, father of 2 young kids, a conservative activist, a media figure.
And more than just a commentator, he was genuinely influential, co-founder of Turning Point USA.
Right, and widely seen as key in organizing the youth vote for Donald Trump, a major force there.
Absolutely. And his influence really came from his particular style, didn't it? These very fiery, prove-me-wrong debates he'd host, often right on college campuses.
Made him incredibly visible, effective for his side, but also, well, extremely polarizing, put him right in the thick of controversy.
And that conflict just erupted. Utah Valley University, UVU, in Orem, Utah, September 10th.
The attack itself, it's just brazen. The timing, 12:03 p.m. Can you sort of walk us through the lead up to that moment?
The sources paint a picture of, well, chilling calculation. Surveillance shows the killer climbing stairs to a rooftop. This is around 11:52 a.m. A vantage point, not close up.
Okay.
And there's this detail. Prosecutors noted it's in the articles. Observers saw this slight kind of unnatural bend in his right leg.
Why?
They believe it was the rifle,
Right.
a high-powered rifle concealed down his trousers.
Wow. So clearly premeditated, not some spur-of-the-moment thing. What was Kirk even talking about right before it happened?
It's heavy stuff. He was discussing gun violence, apparently, and also the link that's sometimes made between transgender people and shooters.
Oh, wow.
And the sources are pretty consistent. The last word he seems to have actually said right before the shot hit was violence.
The irony is just staggering.
It really is.
And the attack itself, the mechanics of it show real planning too, right? Shot from quite a distance.
Yeah, roughly 200 yards, though some reports say maybe 150, 175, from the top of a campus building. And this wasn't, a handgun. It was an older Mauser model bolt-action rifle.
Suggests someone who knew how to use it.
Likely, yes.
Yeah.
That high-powered bullet struck him in the neck. He was rushed to the hospital, but pronounced dead.
And the shooter, what happened immediately after?
The escape plan was just as calculated, it seems like. Dropped straight down from a ledge, no ladder. Left crucial evidence right there. Palm prints, shoe prints.
Where he landed.
Exactly. Then he bolted into a wooded area nearby, ditched the rifle there, wrapped in a towel. Police found it later.
And there was that weird encounter.
Yeah, very strange. Near a construction site, he runs into an excavator operator. The shooter asks the worker if he can cut through to get home, acting like he's just some bystander trying to get away from the chaos.
Incredible nerve. I mean, you think about the people who were there, right in the crowd.
The shock must have been immense. The sources capture that immediate grief, the confusion, even people who strongly disagreed with Kirk's view, as we're saying things like, just having an opinion doesn't mean you should get shot.
That really captures it, doesn't it? That initial almost disbelief that political disagreement could lead to this.
Yeah. But the investigation, it had to move past that shock immediately.
Okay, let's shift gears then. Act 2. The manhunt, capture, and motive. Looking at the materials, the speed of this investigation was remarkable. Less than 36 hours to make an arrest. How did they manage that?
Well, it shows how modern policing works when resources are fully mobilized. This wasn't treated like a standard case. It was an all-hands-on-deck situation. SWAT, FBI involved right away.
And they had images quickly?
Almost instantly. Surveillance photos were released. And you have this combination of classic forensic work, the shoe print, the palm prints from that ledge, DNA off the rifle's trigger.
Combined with what?
Combined with the speed of digital information. Everyone's seeing those photos.
Oh, yeah. Which led them to the suspect, Tyler Robinson, 22 years old. And he didn't even live near the university.
No, lived hours away. And here's where it often gets complicated in these cases. It was Robinson's own father who saw the pictures.
His father recognized him.
Yeah. And contacted the authorities. Robinson was arrested around 10 p.m. on September 11th. So just about 33 hours after the shooting.
The sources say he made a call around that time. Sounded like he knew it was over.
Right. Reportedly implied he was the shooter, said something like he couldn't go to jail and just wanted to end it. Now, he's apparently not cooperating with investigators.
But the motive, some details came out early on.
They did. And they point towards an ideological radicalization. His mother mentioned he'd become very political over the last year or so.
In what way?
Leaning heavily left. specifically very focused on pro-gay and trans rights issues. And this shift seemed connected, partly at least, to his roommate.
His roommate.
Yeah, who was, according to reports, a biological male transitioning genders. Robinson was dating this person.
Okay, so a personal connection potentially fueling this ideological shift. Did the sources weigh how much was the relationship versus maybe online influences? And the planning, was it really just a week?
The sources suggest the specific plan for the attack was formulated over about a week, maybe a little more. But the underlying ideology, that had been building for maybe a year.
And when they asked him why?
The answer was blunt, purely ideological. He said, there is too much evil, and the guy referring to Charlie Kirk spreads too much hate.
Just like that, and he left a note.
Yeah, a chilling note for his roommate, apparently left under a keyboard. It said, I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it.
Unbelievable. So now he's facing multiple charges, including aggravated murder, and prosecutors are seeking the death penalty.
Correct. And with that motive out there, this justification of violence for political ends, the political reaction was, well, exactly what you'd expect. Explosive.
Which brings us to Act 3. The aftershocks. How Washington, the media, everyone reacted.
It was immediate and deeply, deeply divided. President Trump, for instance, blamed the radical left, said their rhetoric, comparing conservatives to Nazis, led to this terrorism.
But it wasn't just one-sided condemnation, was it?
No, and the sources show that. You had figures like Senator Bernie Sanders condemning all political violence. He called it political cowardice, even while acknowledging Kirk was, in his words, a smart and effective communicator.
And leaders from both parties.
Mike Johnson, Chuck Schumer. They both called for an end to violence, urged more civil discourse. But the core issue quickly became about justifying the act itself.
Right, that whole words as violence debate flared up instantly. Utah's governor, Spencer Cox, made that point a lot of sources picked up on.
That critical distinction. Words are not violence. Violence is violence.
Why is that so central here?
Because, as the sources suggest, it cuts to the heart of this dangerous idea gaining traction. That if someone's speech feels harmful or causes emotional distress, it somehow justifies a violent physical response. It undermines the whole basis of free speech in civil society, really.
And then came the misinformation, an absolute flood online, right?
Oh, immediately. Just chaos. False identifications of the shooters started flying around, names like Michael Mallinson, George Zinn.
Wait, George Zinn, wasn't he actually charged with something?
Yeah, obstruction. Apparently, he deliberately misled the police during the investigation. Not the shooter, but part of the noise. And there were false claims about Robinson's politics, too. People claimed he was registered Democrat, but Utah records show he's unaffiliated.
So deliberate misinformation mixing with genuine confusion, and then the conspiracy theories started, the really out there stuff. Let's talk about the white hat guy.
Ah, yes. That theory proposed someone in a white hat near the stage was signaling Kirk's position to the sniper, implying some kind of inside job, maybe involving Kirk's own security.
But the video evidence.
Multiple angles, according to the sources we reviewed, seem to debunk that. Kirk's security team looks genuinely surprised, immediately reacting to protect the stage, not like they were expecting it.
Okay, what about the bulletproof vest theory, that Kirk might have been wearing one?
That circulated too. Probably because he had received security warnings before, given the nature of his events. It remains unconfirmed, speculation really, but you can see why people might grasp at it and need to believe maybe it wasn't as fatal as it was.
And it didn't stop there, did it? Even international theories.
Right. The idea of Israeli involvement popped up. This seemed rooted in some recent criticisms Kirk had made about Israel, views he'd been discussing publicly.
Which the Israeli government responded to.
Yeah, Prime Minister Netanyahu called it insane. It just shows how quickly a tragedy like this gets pulled into completely unrelated global political fights.
Even the ballistics became a source of online debate.
Yeah, it's fascinating. You had self-proclaimed experts, some actual snipers perhaps, weighing in online, debating things like, well, would there be an exit wound from that kind of shot? Could a standard phone camera really capture a bullet in flight? Lots of conflicting expert takes muddying the waters.
And smack in the middle of all this, the Jimmy Kimmel controversy. ABC suspended him indefinitely. What was that about?
He made comments on his show, essentially mocking President Trump's expression of grief and suggesting that Trump supporters, the MAGA gang as he put it, were twisting the narrative about the killer's motive.
And the cancel culture accusation.
Critics framed his suspension that way. They argued ABC caved to political pressure from the right, silencing a host for commentary, however controversial, rather than it being a standard editorial decision. It became another proxy battle in the culture war.
Amidst all this political and media noise, Kirk's widow, Erica Kirk, made a powerful statement. It felt different in tone.
Very different. It was framed almost as a spiritual call to arms. She called her husband a martyr for truth and freedom. Said the evildoers responsible have no idea what they have done, claiming they'd ignited a fire.
And she encouraged people to find a church.
Yes. Shifting the focus away from pure politics towards a sense of maybe good versus evil. A really potent message in that moment.
So, looking at the bigger picture, many analysts we read called the assassination a potential hinge point. What does that mean in this context?
It means it feels like a potential turning point, possibly signaling a shift into a darker, more volatile phase of political conflict in the U.S. Some compared it to the atmosphere of the late 1960s,
So amplified.
amplified massively by social media, the instant spread of graphic images, the immediate hardening of ideological lines. It really poses a stark question for all of us, for you listening.
It is.
Does an event like this inevitably push the country further down the path of escalation? Does political violence become just another tactic? Or is there an off-ramp? Can the country, choose to navigate these deep differences without resorting to violence and hatred?
That choice ultimately rests with everyone. Thank you for joining us. If you found this deep dive thought-provoking, please share and subscribe to Shadows and Crimes. See you soon.